Today, threats to Australia, Awan brothers in court, and President Trump sends another message through his Twitter. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here, and I always give a special thank you to everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't yet, come here to this landing page. There's a big red button right here. You go ahead and click subscribe, and then you make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as this information gets posted, you'll see it, because as I always say, as soon as it becomes available to me, I make it available to you. So let's get right into the Q post for today. This is where we left off. We had the Twitter fiasco where Edward Snowden came out of the blue and popped his head up. So I don't know. I think he's rolled over, but we'll save that for a whole nother episode, of course. Let's get right into Q for today. So the first Q post is reread regarding Australia donations to Clinton Foundation. Why is this relevant? More than you know. This is big. Q. Okay, so just looking at this, like from the outside looking in, this kind of jumps out to me. This is an article out of The Hill, and it's from a few days ago, and it kind of 5 days ago it looks like, and it kind of outlines the Australian diplomat whose tip prompted the Russian probe has tie to the Clintons. And what is his tie? Well, this Australian diplomat, who is actually the Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Australian government, he entered into a deal in 2006 with the Clinton Global Initiative to fight against HIV and AIDS, and he signed on to this initiative that was with China and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and Papua New Guinea and other territories of mutual interest. And what it basically does is it divvies out, as you can see here, $25 million over the next 4 years. So between 2006 and 2010, this party received $25 million for his signing on to this deal from the American government into whatever kind of slush fund there is. And that's just one connection. Now, I haven't been able to find a lot about where this money may have gone back into the Clinton Foundation. But, you know, as they work their cabal, it's fairly easy to make a theory that there's a possibility that the money just was put into a slush fund or rolled back into the Clinton Foundation through more donations. But what does this all have to do with anything? Well, it turns out that this guy was one of the people who actually had a conversation with a drunken George Papadopoulos at a bar where his tip in 2016, he tipped off the FBI to prompt the Russia-Trump investigation. And if that's not just a direct show that, okay, well, here's $25 million. If we ever need anything, we'll give you a call. And then, okay, hey, what's up? Trump just won. You need to go talk to George Papadopoulos and tell him you have some dirt. And then you guys can go to the FBI and we'll give you this fake dossier that you can use to implicate our president in this scandal that's completely a hoax and fake. So, So that's basically what I see and read out of that. Thank you, Q, for giving us clarification there. Now we'll just move on to the next one, since I'm pretty sure it's pretty straightforward with that, and it talks more about intelligence and stuff. And I think that Q doesn't want us to go that way but he is interested in the fact that it is there. So we'll keep going. It says it's been corrected. Donald J. Trump verified account, and then it says, President Xi Jinping and I spoke at length about the meeting with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. President Xi told me he appreciates that the U.S. is working to solve the problem diplomatically rather than going with the ominous alternative. China continues to be helpful. And then Q points to this, which is an ANON posting, and it says 1111 Q. Now, I haven't figured out what 1111 stands for, but I know exactly what they're referring to. This is the corrected version. Now, there was originally this post where this has been corrected, right? And it's that, and then he's pointing to this post here that says got this in the end. Here, let me see if I can make it bigger. Sorry. It says got this in the end of the last bread. POTUS tweet has misspelling X instead of J, and then it goes here. And we'll pull this up a little bigger. Okay, and then it says, this is the original post, right? And it was Chinese President Xi Jinping with an X instead of a J. And I spoke at length about the meeting with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. President Xi told me he appreciates that the U.S. is working to solve the problem diplomatically rather than going with the ominous alternative. China continues to be helpful. It says we have a POTUS tweet spelling Xi Jinping as has X instead of J. Okay, so what does that signal? It's hard to tell at this moment because I'm having trouble deciphering the 1111 in regard to why G would be misspelled with an X. Maybe it's like an X, like a strike on G, like saying, he capitulated in the North Korean standoff. He was the one who blinked first, and therefore he's been X'd out of the equation. We got rid of China influence in North Korea, maybe, and that North Korea has decided to make a deal with the United States instead of relying on the communist Chinese, which they have been doing for so long. So that would be something I think could make sense. But you guys let me know what you think. The 1111, maybe it's like that. It seems like it's like that 5-5 where it's loud and clear, and there's some message there. You guys let me know in the comments. I really would appreciate that. But that's kind of the way I read it, is that Xi Jinping with the X means he's X'd out, meaning he lost, meaning North Korea now is working with us. We X'd out the CIA and Chinese communists back. I don't know if the CIA, but clowns, obviously. So yeah, that's that. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on that, because I'm just kind of giving it to you as I get it myself here. And here's the actual tweet on his Twitter page with the correct spelling now, because it was corrected. I tried looking at the timestamps, 11/11. There's another reference to that later with the March Madness, but we'll get into that. So, yeah, getting right back to what we were doing. Okay. So now first we have Q responding to his own post here. And he says, which conversation leaked? POTUS in Australia? Why that specific conversation? Signal? They hear what you are saying. Threat to Australia? Why? What do they know? Trapped, forced, blood, Q. Well, I think this goes back to here kind of, that the Clintons and their stay behinds, who are leaking all this information on the president, they were sending a message to Australia like, do not cooperate with the Trump administration because we still have a stranglehold here in the White House and we hear everything and we know everything and we still run the deep state, da-da-da-da. Okay, so if all those facts co-align and are true, then one must ask themselves this, okay, why that specific conversation between Australia and President of the United States? Well, it's because they wanted to signal that they are hearing everything, they are listening. Pretty soon, coming up in the next few posts, you're going to see Q basically lays it out exactly for us, which is, just a whole nother issue here. But excuse me. Now, getting into the next post. Now, we have Planned Parenthood, and this is an ANON post that. Now, Q responds by saying, review congressional investigation. Reed drops on Planned Parenthood. We are working to end evil, not as it appears, Q. Now, this all kind of ties into what's happening lately with, this is an article on Breitbart where Cecil Richards, the former president of Planned Parenthood, she's departing, says it's simply not true that they are under investigation from the FBI for illegal profiting from the sale of aborted baby body parts, okay? This is a disturbing story to me because I don't particularly think that I think there's a right to life, and I think I'm very pro-life if you guys want to know or are curious. And what this is doing, even if I wasn't, I would still be appalled by what they're doing here in this organization where it's allegedly selling body parts of babies. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this. You can read through this article. You can come find it. There's probably a dozen more articles about it. It's hard to find articles that aren't just completely biased the other direction, calling it all a conspiracy theory and untrue. But, for me, I've seen the videos, I've seen the undercover tapes, I've heard the people talking about how they're selling the baby parts and how much they sell them for, and how they harvest them, and the disturbing things that go on behind closed doors in this organization. So I'll leave that for you guys to make your own decision, but you can let me know what you think in the comments as well. It's just a really disturbing story, and Q's pointing it out because I think it's a super important issue that we all need to stay aware of and on top of, because it's going to come out that I believe all of this is connected. There's Luciferianism, there's pedo, there's all this other weird occult stuff, and if you just take one glance at a Q map, which I'll leave this in the links if you guys want, you can basically for yourself put together what could be happening behind the scenes when you get into some of these interesting, or not interesting, I would say disturbing things. So, in this area right here, I would say. But yeah, you guys can do that for yourself. I'll leave the map up for you guys. I know that Planned Parenthood's somewhere on this map. I can't find it at the moment. You guys can let me know what it says in here, and that would be very interesting to hear. So that's the Planned Parenthood drop. I think there's probably some posts I can go back and pull up if you hold on one second. So here's where I think Q's pointing us back to reread the post here, and now this is from January 7th, 2018, and it says an ANON post. Then we need to dig Planned Parenthood. Whatever they're doing to babies' fetal tissue might be more sinister than ever imagined. And Q responds to that. He says, review the congressional investigation on Planned Parenthood. Be prepared for what you learn. Next question, how are they allowed to operate? These people are sick, Q. So, I mean, there you go. That's the past post on it. We'll just keep moving forward here. It says, Q says, do not focus on the call details. We knew it would leak. We knew certain areas of the White House were bugged. We knew certain people would leak. Focus. Why Australia? Q. I mean, there you go. They knew the White House was leaked. I think they've known the whole time. I think they expected it. It was an anticipated thing. And I think Trump's been fighting an uphill battle since he's started the campaign. Okay? They've stacked the deck so heavily against him that it is incredible to see a man with such steel reserve and resolve to just get the job done. And he's literally put together a team of people who have helped him get to where he is now, and he's continuing to dismantle the system that was left in place to basically keep him out of power. So that in and of itself is just incredibly positive and uplifting, and I hope that that is the same for you guys. Now, Q posts here in the research board an ANON post. He says, hey Q, are we going to have a big week this week? And then Q responds, March Madness. And it's the guy was pointing, the ANON was pointing to this 11/11 post. So I'm trying to figure out, I think, are they all connected? 11/11, March Madness next week. You guys will have to let me know in the comments, because that one's a little bit vague to really be broken down. Now, the next couple are really cool. They're talking about Australian intelligence, right? And it's talking about Australia is part of Five Eyes, okay? And Q says in response, that's an ANON posting, Q says in response, Five Eyes is very important. It won't be around much longer. Relevant here, but not the focus, Q. And now this next one, it explains Five Eyes in a nutshell, and Q just points to it. He doesn't even respond. He says, an ANON post, awesome. Five Eyes is basically a group of countries asking each other to spy on one another's citizens so that they can skirt their own privacy laws, which is treason, by the way. Wholeheartedly concur with that. I couldn't tell you how much I concur with that statement because it is the truth, and it's exactly what they do to get around it. Now, what are the Five Eyes? They're this intelligence agency that makes up Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and United States. We all have common law inheritance, and all this stuff. So it's all of their intelligence agencies were sharing the programs, hacking tools, the surveillance tools that were dropped by Vault 7. So is that a coincidence? And does that tie into Snowden and Australia and the Chinese influence in Australia? Because just you could put anything into the browser like Australian Chinese scandals or China Australia whatever, and you pull up a bunch of articles that kind of lay out the fact that China infiltrated Australia. And if you thought we're infiltrated in the universities here by the Chinese, you should just go take a look down in Australia and see how infiltrated that country is. And they're actually having to fight it now because they've infiltrated all the parts of government. Now, this one's really important because I think I've always thought this to myself, but I'm glad that we've had clarity and Q's finally just pointing it out and saying, look, it says, for the record, and this is an Anon posting, can you please tell these Anons, ES equals Eric Schmidt, at Snowden equals Snowden. ES does not equal at Snowden. These people just can't put two and two together. And then Q just points to it because I think it speaks for itself. We just need to make sure that we clarify that when we look at all these posts. There's no way that he is if it's ES, it's Eric Schmidt. If it's at Snowden, it's Snowden. So that's something that we need to remember for future posts and when we look back at past posts. So now here's the next one. And it's an Anon posting, and he says, in 2013, documents leaked by the former NSA contractor Edward Snowden revealed the existence of numerous surveillance programs jointly operated by the Five Eyes. The following list includes several notable examples reported in the media. PRISM, operated by the NSA together with GCHQ and the Australian Strategic or Signals Defense. What is it? It's Australian Signals Directorate. And then it says X-Keyscore, operated by the NSA with contributions from the Australian Signals Directorate and the GCSB. Tempora, operated by the GCHQ with contributions from the NSA. Muscular, operated by GCHQ and the NSA. Stateroom, operated by the Australian Signals Directorate, CIA, CSE, GCHQ, and NSA. So these are all the alphabet agencies, and they're all working in tandem with one another to spy on us illegally, and they skirt the illegality of it by having other countries do it to us and then sharing the information openly with one another. If that doesn't get you upset, as I usually say, I don't know what will. And Q just responds, he says, interesting, isn't it? Yes, that is fascinating. You have all these intelligence agencies working together to spy on us. Yeah, that's really fascinating. I say that sarcastically, but it's just the way it is. So now we're getting into the last couple posts here. And this is very interesting now. The ANON brothers, they're still around. This is the post that Q just put up, and it says, whatever happened to this Pakistani guy? And this is Trump being quoted in an article. Whatever happened to this Pakistani guy who worked with the DNC? The president asked in an interview published Thursday by the New York Times. A grand jury in August returned an indictment in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia charging ANON and his wife, Hina Alvi, with a total of 4 counts, which included federal bank fraud and conspiracy. ANON has pleaded not guilty to all charges. And then Trump says, whatever happened to them? Trump continued, with the 2 servers that they broke into 1 million pieces, whatever happened to him? I mean, that's him laying down the hammer. It says, what about ANON? Is Israel involved? Now, this is crazy. It says here, Q responds, he says, we are saving Israel for last. Very specific reason not mentioned a single time, Q. Huh. Now, the ANON brothers have been in the news lately. Here's an article Here's an article from the Daily Caller regarding... It's Chris Bedford peels back the onion on Capitol Hill IT scandal. And it's a quick read, so we'll just go right through it. It says, the Daily Caller News Foundation editor-in-chief Chris Bedford discussed the Capitol Hill IT scandal involving the ANON family Wednesday on Fox Business and said the corruption may go all the way to the top. Bedford said the ANON brothers, who worked as IT aides for many Democratic members of Congress, including Florida Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, have multiple lawsuits pending against them by members of their own family. He believes there is a pattern of nefarious behavior. Quote, they're appearing in civil court today, as you mentioned, at 10 in the morning. One of the many sordid cases they've been kind of involved in here where they are in trouble with their stepmother who accused them of kidnapping her, of wiretapping, Bedford said. Quote, they have lawsuits out with many members of the family, women who have been involved with Awan, his wife, his girlfriend. God, what an awful person if you got a wife and a girlfriend. Have all accused him of different kinds of sordid activity, some of which involve police activity. And I really believe this all connects back to Seth Rich. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear it. It says Bedford referenced an ethics complaint. A group lodged against Democratic Representative Emanuel Cleaver, who gave Awan access to his IT network while paying another person for the work. We also have some news coming out today. The Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust is bringing an ethics complaint against Representative Emanuel Cleaver, potentially for paying people who weren't members of his staff and giving Awan as well access to his IT networks without paying him. And these things could be pretty serious for Representative Cleaver, Bedford added. The Foundation of Accountability and Civic Trust is claiming the payment scheme represents a ghost employee scheme that allowed Awan to defraud Congress. Quote, so far, people have been slow walking this, and Democrats in Congress have refused to bring complaints. They're the victims, since members of Congress actually own the information inside of their offices. But what they don't own is the money they use to pay their staff, Bedford said. Quote, if this goes onward, then it will be referred to the Ethics Committee, and they're going to have to investigate whether or not Cleaver broke House law. I think it's slowly starting to roll. He concluded, slowly people are starting to pick up, and there's just too much here or there to ignore. Too much there to ignore. So there you have it. These guys are dirty as the day, as dirty as a dog rolling in the mud, if you ask me. And that's just the way it is now. So I thought we were done, but apparently as we are here together on the stream and I'm making this video, we have two more posts that we'll get into. So great, that's perfect. We'll knock them out real quick. Here's the next post by Q. It says, just because I'm a parent, Q, are all operators safe and healthy, praying every day? And Q responds by saying, we appreciate all of the prayers. We really do. Thank you for God and country and world, Q. And I second that wholeheartedly. Prayer is the most powerful weapon we have in our arsenal, and God is the most mighty tool and sword we will ever carry in our sheath. God is the best, the most important thing in all of this to remember. So let's just go check out what was just posted. Okay, so it's a Trump tweet here, and it says North Korea has not conducted a missile test since November 28th, 2017, and has promised not to do so through our meetings. I believe they will honor that commitment. And that's today at 1:38 p.m. Fascinating. Now, the ANON post, I swear Trump is killing me here. Haha, he keeps putting out clues he has already talked to Kim. And Q responds, you are learning. How many coincidences before it becomes mathematically impossible? Wait until you learn who has been talking to you here. Q. It's President Trump! Yes! I bet you. Wait till we find out who has been talking to us here. It's Trump. Oh my God, I just got such chills when I said that running up and down my spine. That's amazing. I'm so happy and thrilled. And yeah, I mean, I said this in my last couple of videos. I think the deal was already brokered. I think, Q's already suggested that Trump, either stopped in North Korea and had a meeting or something to that effect. He had a meeting somewhere in Hawaii, maybe with someone. But somehow we've already met with the new North Koreans, and we have already struck the deal. It's just we're waiting to announce it, and that's really incredible. I want to say that is awesome. Blessings and prayers to the president. Thank you. And if you are Q, Mr. President, which I believe you are wholeheartedly, and I have since the beginning, God bless you, sir, and keep it coming. We're always here waiting for more information. So, and then the next post says, guns are safe. Stop falling for fake news. Q. I mean, yeah, there you go. That's pretty self-explanatory. Guns are safe. Stop falling for the fake news. Q. So maybe he's telling us not to worry about the bump stock ban, not to worry about this. I think it was a play it was kind of like exactly the same thing he did with DACA. He gave a huge capitulation, and in return, the Democrats wanted more and more, to the point where they couldn't pass the bill and they couldn't get anything done, and the deadline came and went. And DACA has been extended, but we didn't give any amnesty. We didn't make any deals. We didn't do anything. I think it's the same thing with the guns. He's capitulated the 21-year-old age change. He's capitulated the bump stock ban. But Democrats are going to want more and more, and then eventually that's just going to fall to the wayside when another issue hits, and it's going to be a new thing, because you know how the news cycle just continually changes. And who knows, this North Korea thing could just bump that right off if it comes out that Trump's been talking to North Korea already, which I believe is true anyway. So that's pretty much it. What fascinating and thrilling times that we live in, to be here and alive and sharing this information with you. I have to say thank you to each and every one of you for coming here and watching the channel. If you want to find a way to support, one of the best ways to support is just to come here to this landing page and click the red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications, because as I always say, as soon as this information becomes available to me, I will make it available to you. Another thing you need to do, if you can't do anything else, is go down and read through the comments, because like I say, each one of these videos has its own basically QAnon research board. At the bottom of it, there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of comments, and there already have been thousands and thousands of comments where we've put together such great ideas, and we're putting together a incredible collection of information that I can only attribute to the amazing people who are commenting and subscribing and following this channel. If you haven't yet, just follow the channel, and you guys will be pleasantly surprised at how much information we come up with here. And read through the comments, because I mean, these people, we have insightful, thoughtful, intelligent, awesome people commenting who have great ideas. They create great threads. They create great lines of thought. I read through each and every comment. It takes hours and hours, but it's totally worth it. And that's totally a worthwhile thing, because you'll find out, I guarantee you'll find out something that you did not know previously by reading through the comments. Now, if you're looking for another way to support the channel, just come over here to patreon.com, patreon.com/justinformedtalk. You can also search Just Informed Talk here in the search bar, and it'll bring you to this page. Here's the red button. You click that, you become a patron. You can come here, check out my rewards, check out my goal. You guys, you can earn a chance to have a direct email correspondence with me, and you can also earn a chance to become a featured Patreon patron of each one of these episodes. And you guys can go check that out for yourself. I encourage you. I want to thank you in advance to everybody who who will come here, and thank you to everybody who already has contributed. It's amazing. I mean, it's not overlooked. Thank you so much, and that is pretty incredible. So that's pretty much it, and I'm gonna leave off here where I like to leave off with every episode, and that's taking a minute to recognize something very important. And that is that God's grace is greater. It's greater than all this strife. It's greater than all this hardship. And the good times and the bad times are only because of the Lord. And if you just open your heart to God, if maybe you've been unsure, if you've been atheist, agnostic, or just not strong in your faith lately, just remember that the more you open your heart up to God and embrace Him every day through a prayer, through going to church, through serving your community, through charitable causes, through just contributing positivity into the world, the more you become closer to God. And the closer that we get to God, the more powerful we are, the more blessed we become. And I'm telling you from somebody who knows that the more you open your heart up to God, the more blessings will come flooding in. And as those blessings come flooding in, you have to embrace them, and then you have to pass them on, because it's not about just one person, opening your heart to God. It's about having your heart open to God so that you can open others' hearts to the Lord. And if you just work with what you have, and you stay humble and you stay hardworking, God will reward you. As long as you put forth a true, earnest effort to become closer to Him and to spread His word and to be a witness to the power of Jesus and the Lord. So, take that. If you don't take anything else away from this episode, please take that and hold it in your heart, and hopefully you can open your heart to the Lord, and He will come in and give you so many blessings that you will be just the most happy and fulfilled person in the world, and everyone will see it, and everyone will want to be around you. So that's going to be it for today. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications. As this stuff becomes available to me, I make it available to you. Comment if you have a thought, if you have an idea, and if you don't have anything to contribute, just read through them. You're going to learn so much. So thank you for watching. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. God bless and Godspeed, Patriots.